Picture this. Banks are failing, inflation is soaring, and jobs are disappearing. What do? This is not a dystopian novel. It's the reality of an economic collapse. Now, let's peel back the layers of this reality. An economic collapse is not just a dip in the stock markets or a bump in the unemployment rate. It's a severe, long-term downturn in economic activity, often marked by a significant fall in GDP, a sharp rise in unemployment, and a breakdown of the normal supply and demand dynamics. It's when the economy, as we know it, grinds to a halt. The signs of an economic collapse sneak up, often unnoticed until it's too late. They can include soaring inflation, banks buckling under the weight of bad debts, a dramatic drop in property values, and a surge in unemployment. The consequences? They are far-reaching, affecting everyone from the billionaire in his penthouse to the worker in the factory. But this is not a new phenomenon. History is peppered with instances of economic collapses. The Great Depression of the 1930s was a global economic downturn that lasted for a decade, causing widespread poverty and unemployment. Then there was the 2008 recession, triggered by a housing market crash and a financial crisis. Both events left deep scars on the economy and the people. So, what can we learn from these historical collapses? First, that no economy, no matter how strong, is immune to a collapse. Second, that the effects of a collapse can be long-lasting and devastating. And third, that preparation and resilience are key to surviving an economic downturn. Understanding economic collapse is not about fear-mongering, but about being informed. It's about recognizing the signs, understanding the consequences, and being prepared to safeguard your resources. Understanding economic collapse is the first step towards preparing for it. Remember, knowledge is power. When the economy takes a nosedive, your financial stability should be your safety net. But how do you achieve that? There's no sugarcoating it, folks. In an economic collapse, money might not be everything, but it sure is something. And that something can mean the difference between weathering the storm or getting swept away. So, let's talk about financial preparedness. Firstly, let's consider the emergency fund. This isn't your everyday savings account. It's a financial buffer, a safety net for those unexpected expenses that can hit hard during tough times. An emergency fund should ideally cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses. It's not built overnight, but by setting aside a bit from each paycheck, you'll start to see it grow. Next, let's talk about diversification. As the old saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is especially true for your income sources and investments. If you're solely reliant on one job, what happens if you lose it? Having multiple income streams, whether that's a side hustle, rental income, or investments, can provide a cushion if one source dries up. Similarly, diversifying your investments across different sectors and asset classes can help mitigate risk. Now, on to the topic no one likes to talk about: debt. We've all got it, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But managing it is crucial to financial preparedness. High-interest debt, like credit cards, can quickly spiral out of control, eating into your income and savings. Prioritize paying off this kind of debt and avoid taking on new debt if you can help it. Living within your means is another key element of financial preparedness. It's easy to get caught up in the consumer culture, buying things we don't need with money we don't have. But in an economic downturn, that new flat-screen TV won't keep you warm or put food on your table. Focus on what's necessary: food, shelter, medical supplies, and other essentials. And remember, folks, cash is king in a crisis. While it's wise to have some money in the bank, having cash on hand can be a lifeline if ATMs and banks become inaccessible or if electronic transactions are not an option. Financial preparedness isn't about becoming rich. It's about being ready for whatever life throws your way. It's about having the means to look after yourself and your loved ones when times get tough. And it's about making wise decisions today that can safeguard your tomorrow. In times of economic uncertainty, a strong financial foundation can make all the difference. When social order breaks down, chaos ensues. But with the right preparations, you can safeguard your loved ones and your property. The importance of securing your home cannot be overstated during times of social unrest. It's about creating a fortress that can withstand potential break-ins or looting. This may involve reinforcing doors and windows, setting up a security system, or even having a safe room. But remember, physical barriers are only as strong as the strategies behind them. Now let's talk about community networking. In times of chaos, there's strength in numbers. Building relationships with your neighbors can provide mutual aid and safety. It's about looking out for each other, sharing resources, and coordinating efforts. Remember, a united community is a resilient one. But while it's essential to have a supportive community, it's equally crucial to maintain a low profile during widespread unrest. Drawing attention to yourself or your resources can make you a target, so keep your preparations discreet. Use blackout curtains, keep noise levels down, and avoid unnecessary outdoor activities. And there's one more thing. Information. Stay informed about what's going on. Listen to the news, monitor social media, but always verify information before acting on it. Misinformation can be as dangerous as the unrest itself. In the end, it's about balance. Balance between fortifying your home and fostering community relationships. Between staying informed and maintaining a low profile. When you strike this balance, you're not just surviving the social unrest, you're navigating through it. Preparation is key to surviving social unrest. Stand together, stay safe. The road ahead may be challenging, but with the right strategies, you can weather the storm. Remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving amidst the chaos. So keep preparing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep going. When store shelves go empty and the tap runs dry, how do you keep your family fed and hydrated? This question is not a hypothetical scenario from a dystopian novel. It's a real-life situation that could happen during an economic collapse when supply chains are disrupted and essentials become scarce. Let's start with the basics: food and water. In a world where we're used to having everything at our fingertips, it's easy to forget how vital these resources are. But in a crisis, they become the currency of survival. So how can we ensure that we have enough to sustain ourselves and our loved ones? One way is to plan for shortages. This doesn't mean hoarding or panic buying, but rather creating a sensible stockpile over time. Start with non-perishable food items that have a long shelf life. Think canned goods, dried beans and grains, pasta, powdered milk, and the like. Don't forget about your dietary needs and preferences. If you're vegetarian, for instance, focus on plant-based proteins. Water is another critical component. The rule of thumb is to store at least 1 gallon per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. However, in a prolonged crisis, you might need more. Consider investing in water purification methods, such as filters or purification tablets, and learn how to collect and store rainwater safely. But what happens when the stockpile runs out? That's where self-sufficiency comes in. Growing your own food might sound daunting, but it's a skill that pays dividends. Start small with a container garden or a few backyard chickens for eggs. If you have more space, consider a full-fledged vegetable garden or even a small orchard. Permaculture principles can guide you in creating a sustainable food system right in your backyard. Foraging is another valuable skill. Many common plants are edible and nutritious, but you need to know what to look for and how to prepare them safely. Likewise, hunting or fishing could provide a source of protein, but these require specific skills and equipment. Remember, self-sufficiency is a journey, not a destination. It's about steadily building your skills and resources, adapting to challenges, and becoming more resilient. Even small steps can make a big difference. Of course, food and water are not the only essentials. Consider other necessities like medication, hygiene products, fuel or tools, and plan for those as well. Finally, remember that knowledge is power. Learn about preserving food, basic first aid, mechanical repairs, and other practical skills. These could be invaluable in a crisis. When the supply chain breaks down, self-sufficiency becomes your lifeline. So start planning, start growing, and start becoming more self-reliant today. You never know when these skills could make all the difference. In times of crisis, knowing your rights and how to protect yourself is crucial. The first step is understanding your local laws. These laws can vary widely depending on your location, and ignorance can lead to unnecessary conflict or even legal trouble. Make a point to stay informed about regulations concerning curfews, mandatory evacuations, and the right to defend your property. Remember, knowledge is power. Keeping abreast of current events is also key. Stay tuned to local news outlets, radio broadcasts, and trusted online sources. This will help you stay one step ahead of the game and make informed decisions to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. Now let's talk about self-defense. In an ideal world, we wouldn't need to think about this, but the reality is, we don't live in an ideal world. Basic self-defense techniques can be invaluable in a crisis. You don't need to be a martial arts expert, but learning how to land a punch, escape from a hold, or even just knowing when to run can make all the difference. Consider taking a self-defense class, or even just watching some instructional videos online. Your home is your fortress, and it's important to have some security measures in place. This could be as simple as installing deadbolt locks on your doors, reinforcing your windows, or setting up a basic alarm system. If you live in a rural area, a well-trained dog can be a great deterrent against intruders. Remember, the goal isn't to turn your home into a fortress, but to make it less appealing to potential troublemakers. Finally, don't forget about the importance of a good old-fashioned safety plan. Know your escape routes, have a rendezvous point for your family, and keep a list of emergency contact numbers. It's better to have a plan and not need it than to need a plan and not have it. Stay informed, stay secure, and remember, your safety is paramount. We've navigated through the tumultuous waters of economic collapse and social unrest today. It's a journey that's taken us from understanding the very nature of these phenomena to exploring practical strategies for surviving and thriving amidst such uncertainties. Let's take a moment to revisit this journey. We began with a deep dive into what economic collapse truly means. We looked at history as our guide, drawing lessons from past collapses to better prepare us for any potential future scenarios. It's a sobering reminder that economies, like all man-made systems, aren't immune to failure. From there, we moved into the realm of financial preparedness. We learned the importance of building an emergency fund as a safety net in times of financial distress. Diversifying income sources and investments was another key takeaway, reducing our risk in the face of economic instability. And let's not forget the significance of debt management and living within our means. These aren't just good financial practices, they're survival strategies. Then we turned our attention to preparing for social unrest. We discussed the necessity of securing our homes against potential break-ins or looting. But it's not all about fortifying our physical spaces. We also explored the power of community networking for mutual aid and safety, reminding us that in times of crisis, we're stronger together. Keeping a low profile during widespread unrest was also emphasized, a strategy that can help us avoid unnecessary conflicts and dangers. We also delved into the issue of supply chain disruptions, focusing on the importance of planning for and managing shortages of food, water, and other essentials. Self-sufficiency was a prominent theme, with tips on growing our own food as a means of ensuring our survival. Finally, we touched on legal and security measures. Understanding our rights and staying informed about local laws can help us navigate social unrest with a clear head. We also learned basic self-defense techniques and explored security enhancements for our homes, ensuring our personal safety is prioritized. And here we are at the end of our journey today, better equipped to face the potential challenges of economic collapse and social unrest. But remember, this is just the beginning. The road to resilience is a continuous journey, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. So subscribe for more guidance on staying prepared. We encourage you to share your experiences or advice. Your insights could be the lifeline someone else needs. And for those looking for comprehensive survival tactics, the Ultimate Grid Down Survival Handbook on Amazon is a valuable resource. Remember, resilience is not a destination but a journey. Stay secure and keep building resilience.